Welcome to the Hedgehog Watchdog. I'm your host, Devin Saxon, joined by Garrid Baldwin. We are the dream team behind Libertarian Party of South Dakota and South Dakotans Against Prohibition. Episode is sponsored by pinkcoin.com. Our guest today is Garrid Baldwin, former at-large member of the Libertarian Party of South Dakota, also a veteran of Iraq. And today's episode is Afghanistan.
Right, we were supposed to have Uriah on as well. I have not heard from him, so I don't know if he's coming. He's a veteran as well, a little bit before the war on terror, though. So, but it's always good to get a veteran's perspective on current events right now. I mean, we can all have opinions, of course, but it's good to hear from the people that were actually over there. Garrid was not in Afghanistan. However, he is a veteran of the war on terror and was in Iraq a couple times. How many times were you in Iraq?
3 fun-filled times.
An average stay was, 18 months or a year? Or
40 months total.
Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah.
About 130 degrees there.
Well, no, it depends on the season. But I think my hottest days over there were easily 120 degrees Fahrenheit. But go ahead and add your gear and your body armor and the fact that you're out there, doing something, not just sitting in a lawn chair and enjoying an iced tea.
Your Humvee
can be beautiful, though.
Did your Humvee have air conditioning at least?
I call it. What it did was keep you from dying. It didn't actually cool you, but if you didn't have it, you wouldn't be able to be inside them up armored Humvees. They don't breathe exactly, kind of on purpose.
So 3 tours in Iraq. When you were in you were by Baghdad or in Baghdad, weren't you?
In and around Baghdad most of the time. I like to say I don't need a GPS to get around Baghdad. I know it that well.
How big is Baghdad?
It's a major metropolitan city. I mean, I'm just making this number up, but it's a few million, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
The first time I was there, I was smack dab in the city center. I did 12 months downtown, smack dab downtown Baghdad, and then we moved out towards the airport and some other stuff. We were the first unit to, how do I word this correctly? Whatever. It's kind of commonplace now, but we got extended. I had literally called our mother from Baghdad with at the airport with all my bags packed and our vehicles all ready to be, shipped out. And all right, Mom, next time I talk to you, I'll be calling you from Germany. And no sooner did I hang up the phone than the Army said, nah, never mind. What was it that kept us there? Was it that's what we went up there for the second time. I'm not necessarily for certain what kept us, if there was a specific event that kept us there, other than us being how do you want to put it? Us being the good guys and them being happy to see us had wore off by the time my 12 months was over. That's when the insurgency was just starting to. Oh wait, hold on. Not everybody's shaking hands and kissing babies and offering us ice water. Some of these people are planting roadside bombs, and so they extended us for that extra 3 months, which we spent down in where was it? Mahmudiya, south of Baghdad, started to get into the Sunni Triangle. And then, let's see, the second time I went, they were trying to draw back troops. So my brigade was what they called the Theater Reserve. We had deployment orders, but we were only going to Kuwait just in case something would happen. Well, it didn't take long for something to happen. About 3 months in, what was his name? That Jordanian al-Zakari. Yeah, al-Zakari blew up that mosque in, which one was it? Oh, it's a serious, he tried to start trying to start sectarian violence. And he blew up a mosque that was very important to the Shiites. And so that was enough for us to go up north. And I guess they don't need to get too military jargon, but they broke our brigade up into task force. So we were in the first task force, and about 3 months after that, the second task force went up, and then about 3 months after that, the last task force went up. I was lucky enough, was that the next one? No, I came home right away on that one. My last deployment, I had to be, I don't even know what my awesome title was, but I spent an extra month and a half or so in Kuwait, making sure everybody else got home all right. I freaking got to see all of the beautiful countryside of Kuwait, or should I say the desert. Kuwait's a completely manufactured country. I mean, like, it wouldn't exist if oil money didn't create it in the middle of nothing. Like, you're just driving along for an hour on a highway in the middle of the desert, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a city.
Like Vegas?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to Vegas, but yeah, I mean, yeah, so Kuwait doesn't, but I had to escort the buses that from the camps up near the border to the actual airport, a couple hours drive.
Were you ever assigned to like Garden Airport, like in Afghanistan, where they had a Garden Airport look out for suicide bombers?
Well, not specifically an airport. I did lots of guard duty. I've guarded hospitals, power plants. The closest thing that everybody, if you've kind of, the green zone was the heavily fortified, impenetrable, super secure area where like the Iraqi government and the, it's anyway, I guarded one of the, and I was in charge of one of the entry points to the green zone for.
Okay. What are some of the things they trained you to look out for when you're on guard duty?
Oh man. I mean, I feel like reciting my general orders. I will guard everything within the limits of my post and quit my post only when properly relieved.
All right.
Yep. That's your first general order. I don't remember the second one off the top of my head. Well, let's see. I did get to go through a class, first deployment. They drove me out to another base for a couple weeks because the Brits were given a in-depth advanced search techniques class. And I guess the reason they were considered the subject matter experts is because they'd been fighting terrorism in Northern Ireland for 20 years. And so yeah, I mean, I guess to back up a hair, I didn't join the army to be a beat cop or to patrol the streets or even man checkpoints. I'm an artilleryman by trade. I shoot cannons, really big bullets. Never got to do that at war, other than at a range. We got to shoot some rounds, but I have not fired rounds in combat. Every time I've went to combat, I played infantrymen, mounted cavalry, I guess is what, but no different than a beat cop. I mean, or, your patrolman in any city. But
World Police Force.
I mean, I don't necessarily need to go into everything. Let's see.
So
I guess maybe I'd start back at when I joined the Army in September 11th and all. I almost went to Afghanistan twice, but I joined the Army in what was it? Oh, July of 1998, right after high school. I did like a year and a half, 2 years at the local National Guard. And I went active duty January 4th, 2000. And I had just got done doing a physical fitness test the morning of September 11th. I scored a 298 out of a possible 300, best score I ever had. I went home on cloud 9. I was eating breakfast. I was, celebrating, and I flipped on the TV, and the world changed. And I basically sat there glued to the TV for about 15, 20 minutes, couldn't take my eyes off of it before I realized that, hey, I live on an Army base. I might want to get back to work and see what's going on here. By the time I got back to work, everybody was in full body armor and weapons drawn with live ammunition, and they were guarding the command headquarters on the base. That first couple weeks after September 11th were the force protection measures that they had on our base inside the United States, one of the largest bases in the United States. 60,000 troops. About that. Anyway, man, nothing. I had to drive. I lived on the base. I had to go through 2 to 3 checkpoints just to get to work on the base. I didn't have to go through gates to. Shortly after that, go ahead.
I was going to say, how long after 9/11 was that going down with the extra security protocols?
Well, at least 2 weeks, and then I'm not sure exactly how. Some of them have never changed, in the sense of like, this is even before my time, but I heard some Army bases used to be just open to the public, like you could just. Now, you couldn't necessarily use the facilities without having the proper credentials, but they weren't closed to, you wanted to come on and go play at a basketball court or I don't know what else you'd do on an Army base necessarily. But somebody told me one time that Fort Riley used to be an open base. Where I was going with that story is we went to the Joint Readiness Training Center, Fort Polk, Louisiana, about, let's see, 2 weeks or so. Yeah, about 2 weeks after September 11th. And so we got to go play war games in the Louisiana swamp. And it's tough training, but man, I never took training more serious in my life. You know what I mean? Like, of course, your leaders want you to take training that serious every time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never stop being a soldier. But no, I took that training serious and got back, and in Fort Campbell's infinite wisdom, they decided not to take the artillery. So when they deploy, I think Fort Campbell relieved the Marines in December. The Marines secured the air base in Kandahar, and shortly after, when did they? I'm not even sure exactly when they landed. They gave them some time to turn over Bin Laden, but it wasn't too long. But the Marines took over the Kandahar air base, and then Fort Campbell followed relieved them and did a year-long tour, but they didn't take us artillerymen. So, hindsight's 2020. They took them every other time. So I missed out on the first Afghanistan deployment. I got to Germany in March of 04. It's got to be 03, sorry. March 03. And we deployed to, I got to Baghdad the day that Bush said mission accomplished. How's that for some irony? Yeah, and I actually got to see him speak at a Navy base before. I was actually on what they call permanent change of station leave. I was taking some 30 days leave, and I was down in Jacksonville, Florida, which has a Navy base not too far from it. And that's where the 101st Airborne was shipping their helicopters out of, was the Navy base. So I'm on vacation watching all these Blackhawks and Apaches just zip through the freaking skyscrapers. And of course, Bush had to give a motivational speech at the Navy base. So I polished up my boots and pressed my uniform. And one of the proudest days of my military career was that an Air Force officer come up to me. You shine them boots yourself? Damn right I fucking do. I don't know what military you're in there, but
how did you feel when George Bush had a shoe thrown at him at that press conference?
I was gonna ask, maybe he was there. He was the one.
Yeah.
Black security.
Oh yeah. No, I never been that close to the president whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, I get it, it's a shoe. It's a what do you want to call it? A weapon of opportunity. But dang, the guy got off 2 shoes before the Secret Service got Bush. You know what I mean? Like, and you're in a combat zone. Like, you know what I mean? I can see if you're in the White House press secretary room, or you know what I mean, like, freaking George Stephanopoulos starts to whip his shoe at you or something. All right, you know.
So we'll kind of pivot just in a second to Afghanistan, but with everything that's going on there, would have been best, but probably to have this show a week ago. That was when kind of everything was going down, but unfortunately tornadoes took out power, so we had to postpone. But since you're a veteran of Iraq and seeing the fiasco that Afghanistan kind of is right now, like, would you say we won in Iraq? Like, I guess maybe it could be the media just is ignoring Iraq, and so like you don't ever hear about it unless like something major happens. But do you feel like we won Iraq? Is Iraq successful?
Let me sound like a politician now for a second, but I mean, it depends on what you want to define as the mission. I think, does Iraq have a functioning government, democracy, a military? Barely. So in that sense, did we accomplish our goals? I'd say no, you know what I mean? But if regime change was the main goal, is ousting Saddam and giving them a chance, I crammed myself, probably didn't need to, but I brushed up on my documentaries here and there, or whatever have you, and which guy? He was a fairly high dude. Like, I want to say he was not Brent, but like he worked for the State Department, or you know what I mean? Like, this guy was high up there, and he even said, and I agree with this in a sense, Iraq's worse off than it was. I don't regret what I was asked to do, told to do, whatever. But it's so unstable and just, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's kind of hard to say. Like the media, I mean, I haven't really heard a whole lot about Iraq, to be honest. I mean, things could be going pretty smooth there for all I know. But definitely in hindsight, it's like, the whole Arab Spring, and we destabilized the whole entire region, multiple countries, Libya, Egypt for a while, Syria most recently. So, yeah, I mean, the whole situation.
I just watched this thing that said Lebanon doesn't have a functioning government. Syria probably, can't have a functioning government. I know that the Iraq is still they're playing favorites. Whoever's in power is abusing the other. It was a Sunni minority rule in that country for so long, and the brutal dictatorship under the suppressing the majority Shiites. Well, now so the majority Shiites are in charge now, and it's payback time. It ended up tit for tat. I mean, to build on where you're trying to go with this, I think is you can. It's easy for me, and hopefully most people, to draw parallels between the two withdrawals, the two drawdowns, the two exits. The only real difference between the two is what do you want to call it? The abruptness.
Did we ever get an actual withdrawal from Iraq? I mean, I know they've declared it over many times, but
in 2010 they changed the mission name to, or wait, was it 10? Yeah, around there. Shortly after I left the last time, they changed the mission name to New Dawn, and we were supposed to have pulled back on all our forward operating bases and basically just be at the airport in the green zone. When I left, basically, when I said I was running that entry control point to the green zone, at the end of the day, let me hike my belt buckle and be like, I was the American, I'm in charge. But they ran it. I sat in a control booth and watched security cameras, and a couple times a shift I would go inspect, walk around and inspect, soldiers and make sure they were, doing the right thing or whatever. But it was Iraqi soldiers, Ugandan explosive dogs. This was the green zone. I mean, this is like where, the prime minister and president of Iraq work, and this is where the American embassy is, and whatever. They had state of the art equipment and stuff like that. These security cameras, I could zoom in. I don't know, mile out. I could see a car coming if they were going slow enough, But see that the timeline for withdrawal was more gradual, and I'm not an expert on it, but by the time we declared Iraq over, and then the Iraqi army fell, we're talking like a couple of years from the time American soldiers, quote unquote, left. Whether they did or not, I don't know for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing, is that there's still some there. I know. That was.
I just looked it up. There's 2,500 U.S. soldiers there still in Iraq. I was going to follow that up with a question. Oh, yeah, Greg, go for it. You go first, though.
No, I was just going to comment that I actually had heard from multiple sources. Actually, this guy actually said it. But even under Trump, he was trying to pull all the troops out of Syria, and they lied. They basically lied to him, and they kept troops in Syria and just said, no, there's no troops in Syria.
Yeah.
And the one guy even... they went on record. Some spokesman.
Who's him? Lied to.
Lied to Trump and said, because Trump said that he didn't want any troops in Syria, and he ordered the troops to pull out, and whoever these people were, kept troops in and just basically lied to him about it.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, I'm just.
Oh, hold on.
I was just. That was just my comment about Iraq. Even though it's over, like we still have troops there. I'd say Afghanistan's kind of weird and different in that supposedly we're completely out of there now, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to, we want to start sounding like a media or whatever have you. No U.S. troops left. What do they estimate? About 10,000 maybe Afghans that should have came but didn't, or should have been with us but weren't, and 100 Americans.
Yeah, it was.
The minister, what I heard too was that anybody that wanted to get out had an opportunity.
Jared, do you think if we withdrew the 2,500 troops in Iraq that the same situation would happen in Iraq where the government collapses like immediately and there's chaos is ensuing? Or do you think Iraq's a little bit more held up than that?
No, absolutely not. Iraq fell. ISIS took over half of Iraq. The Iraqi army dropped it. I mean, exact same thing as Afghanistan to a T. Now, and we weren't even the 2,500. That if ISIS would have continued to march or to continue to advance and hold territory, they could have got to Baghdad. I'm almost certain that I know half, if not about third Iraq fell to ISIS. And that's why I say the parallels are just, this would be my wheelhouse where I can draw on, I can make the connection between Afghanistan and Iraq is because, I don't have the emotional investment quite because I never went to Afghanistan, but my pity pot, my woe is me, or I don't know how, my emotional connection to Iraq was, 40 months of my life, blood, sweat, and tears, friends lost lives, missed birthdays and anniversaries and to just have the Iraqi army just throw their hands in the air and fold without a fight and just give over millions of dollars worth of equipment. I've been there, done that. My heart fell out of them. I grabbed me a couple of beers and I started drunk dialing army buddies and crying on everybody's shoulder I could. And it hurt. It hurt.
This whole spreading democracy by force hasn't worked time and time again. There was even a couple examples in the Middle East where, they held these democratic elections. Well, like Egypt is one example where they hold these democratic elections and they end up electing the extreme Muslim, the Muslim Brotherhood took over Egypt for a while. Luckily, the military was strong enough there that they kind of that they ousted them and got rid of them. But that's one of the hardest things.
I don't disagree with you, but do you realize what you just said?
What's that?
Oh, good thing they overthrew that democratically elected government with a military coup.
Wow, Greg.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
No, democracy doesn't always work the way you want it to. Sometimes.
Well, I mean, for like Iraq specifically too, like how you kind of say it might not be better off than it was. It's like, yeah, Saddam Hussein, I mean, I don't think anyone's calling him a good person, but it's like he kept that extremism in check. You know what I mean? It was like,
yeah.
It's almost like that's, I mean, I guess that's all I'm trying to say. It's like, I don't know, the people will vote for their own enslavement, I guess. You know what I mean? You're
Well,
trying
I
to.
mean, spreading democracy doesn't work, and nationalism hardly works. Like, I love nationalism, but anyway, I saw a T-shirt one time that said Jesus was a nationalist, but
So we saw a third of Iraq collapsed when we kind of withdrew from Iraq. And Joe Biden claims that he didn't expect Afghanistan to collapse at all, even though we saw what happened in Iraq. Do you believe Joe Biden when he says something like that?
I do in a sense, because when you're talking about being lied to, I don't think it was the biggest secret, but they definitely sugarcoated their, I would never even call it success in Afghanistan. I mean, their surge over there didn't even hardly work, but they're at least neutral stalemate. Anyway, do I believe that he, I don't think anybody saw it falling. I don't think anybody saw the soldiers being chased out of the country. Didn't see that happening.
Wasn't it like 1 day or like even like 2 days? It seemed like it was really, really fast.
They officially took, according to what I saw, over Kabul, the city, like basically the 16th or 17th, something like that. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not sure why they enclosed so fast and so rapidly on the airport, other than flexing control and stuff. But like, here's another, sorry, this is on topic, but kind of a different point we will probably got to later. But any war that takes 20 years and 3 and 4 administrations, all of them share the blame. My favorite part about being a libertarian is I point fingers both ways easily, and it doesn't bother me in the least bit. A Republican started the war, Democrats continued it. A Republican negotiated withdrawal, a Democrat executed that plan. You're the scarecrow pointing which way did you go, left, right? Doesn't matter. I mean, the right wants to be mad at Biden for botching the exit. I mean, last time I checked, he didn't have a lot of military experience. He had some generals that should have been taking care of that for him. But I always like the attitude. The buck stops with him. He's the president. He's wearing it. He's owning it. He will.
Well, speaking of that, we got this little 2-minute video that kind of plays into this. We found. Sure. We'll play it real quick. Biden kind of gets into it with some reporters sometimes when he gets asked something he doesn't want to answer.
Take one more question.
Wait.
Let me take the one question from the most interesting guy that I know in the press. That's you.
Mr. President, there had not been a U.S. service member killed in combat in Afghanistan since February of 2020. You set a deadline, you pulled troops out, you sent troops back in, and now 12 Marines are dead. You said the buck stops with you. Do you bear any responsibility for the way that things have unfolded in the last 2 weeks?
I bear responsibility for fundamentally all that's happened of late. But here's the deal. You know, I wish you'd one day say these things. You know as well as I do that the former president made a deal with the Taliban that he would get all American forces out of Afghanistan by May 1. In return, the commitment was made, and that was a year before. In return, he was given a commitment that the Taliban would continue to attack others, but would not attack any American forces. Remember that? I'm being serious. No, I'm asking you a question. Because before, no, wait a minute. I'm asking you a question. Is that accurate, the best of your knowledge? What?
That people have an issue with pulling out of Afghanistan or just the way that things have happened?
I think they have an issue that people are likely to get hurt. Some, as we've seen, have gotten killed, and that it is messy. The reason why, whether my friend will acknowledge it when he's reported it, the reason why there were no attacks on Americans, as you said, from the date until I came into office, was because the commitment was made by President Trump. I will be out by May 1st. In the meantime, you agree not to attack any American. That was the deal. That's why no American was attacked.
So, anyways, I've heard
Over.
recently that the federal government might be in talks with the Taliban to give them intelligence to help them fight ISIS. Are there any thoughts on that situation?
I wouldn't do it, but we seem to make that mistake over and over again, actually. But
We did just arm them.
well, yeah, it's not the first time we've worked with the Taliban or Al Qaeda or it's. I don't think it's worth it. I really don't. Not unless they think that ISIS-K has global international reach.
I feel
right
like that
now.
shit's just made up. Like somebody
What's
just made up that term real quick.
What's that?
ISIS-K.
ISIS-K.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't it seem weird to you that there's a what do you want to call it? Fundamental, or what's the word I'm looking for exactly? But there's people out there who consider the Taliban not conservative enough.
Yeah, right.
You're not doing it right. You need to be what more do they need to add? But
And if there was a resurgence of any terrorists in the region, you would almost think it would be like Al Qaeda or something. It's like this whole ISIS. I don't know.
well, if the Taliban, I hate to I get back to the whole kind of the joke of Egypt and overthrowing whatever. I mean, it hurts my ears, but the way they talk about it on the news and stuff is the Taliban's now basically the legitimate government of Afghanistan. I don't know if internationally recognized, but as I listen to this interview and that interview, and we're in talks with the Taliban. We're in talks with the Taliban. So they're negotiating, or the American government is not treating them like a terrorist organization. They're treating them like somebody to have diplomatic dialogue with. I don't think the Taliban can govern. We couldn't do it. We couldn't support them to do it. We couldn't do it. I don't know if the country itself is governable, if you will, in the sense of we think in America. But if the Taliban wants to be, clan leaders in control of Afghanistan and stick to brutalizing their people within their own borders, I don't think they'll have a big problem. We've got enough assets in the region and stuff now to where we don't need to be there anymore.
I think that's what it highlights, what a complete waste of time the whole 20 years and $2 trillion really was, because the Taliban was the government of that country before we invaded them. And so, how can you even claim that we really accomplished anything if the minute we left, the Taliban, the same exact Taliban that was in power 20 years ago, just sat there and waited for us to leave?
we didn't necessarily have a problem with the Taliban. They gave safe haven to Al Qaeda.
Yeah. But then I just going back with what Bin Laden, I mean, and then you find out he was in Pakistan. He wasn't even in Afghanistan. Now, I mean, he might have, been crossing the borders. Who knows, but
that's where he that's where he formed Al Qaeda, fighting the Russians in Afghanistan. Yep.
But I will just say, talking about the pullout, and a lot of people were kind of upset, mad at the way it all worked out. I mean, I'm not unsympathetic. You see people freaking falling from airplanes, and what was it, like 13 U.S. troops died a week ago, and you see the pullout. But like as Biden kind of said in that speech or in that little clip we played, it's like, to me, it just highlights the failure of government in general all around. It's like, so the original pullout or the original end was like May 1st, right? So Biden extended that until September. So he, extended it till September.
Yeah, but troops and all Americans are two different things. But
well, no, all I'm saying is they technically had an extra 5 months. It's like government could have planned. They didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone. I'm not necessarily blaming Trump. I'm not blaming Biden. I actually am kind of sympathetic to Biden because everyone's jumping on his shit about how terrible this pullout was, and it's just like, I just keep going back to like, okay, but we should have been out like a decade ago. Like, I mean, this is nonsense. It's like, come on, man. How long did you think we needed to wait to get it right? How long, should we have extended this? And why didn't the government plan this earlier? It's like, you guys had 20 years to plan a pullout.
Yeah. Now this is again, this is where I become an armchair quarterback or Monday morning quarterback here, if you will, because I'll be goddamned if we didn't plan and rehearse a plan A, B, C, D, fucking months in advance. Like, 20 years and you don't have an exit strategy. Like, even like I get it. That was absolute worst case scenario. You were being chased out of the country by Taliban's on your heels. I got it. Like, should have had a plan for that. Shouldn't have to be flying in an extra 2,500 troops to secure the airport to get the last Americans out. Like, even.
And like a lot of the Afghans too that they were leaving behind. Again, I'm totally sympathetic. The people that helped us over the course of the last 20 years, the translators, all that stuff. But it's like, again, it's like government had a decade to deal with this. It's like our immigration policies, the visa, the red tape, it takes 10 years to get a fucking immigration card or whatever. It's just like, again, as a libertarian, it just highlights the dysfunction that is government, and people always look to government for solutions. It's like, and these same people that were mad about the pullout and how it was handled, it's like, well, who was going to handle it differently? The government, the same government that just fucked this up completely. You think in some scenario they're not going to? I don't know. I guess I don't have much faith, but.
And like I said, I get the poop on generals here, but like, I don't know, man. I mean,
there was one general, I watched it on the news, and I don't know who he was exactly, but there was one general, and he's giving his little speech, and someone asked him, and you kind of answered this question earlier, but I don't buy it. But they asked him, they said, did you think that the Taliban would take the control or, take back over after you guys left? And he's like, no, there was just no indication that would happen. If we'd have known that, we would have never left, and it's just like I don't buy that. I mean, maybe you didn't think it was going to be as quick and as kind of crazy and as fast as it was, but you had to know at least a third. Kind of like at least a third of the country was going to go straight back.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could figure the rural areas and stuff like I said. I don't know the geography and demographics of Afghanistan the greatest, but I agree and disagree. Like, I don't. Biden could have known. I mean, depending on how knee deep he is into the operations of Afghanistan, his generals could have given him proper intelligence. And I can't believe that nobody saw it coming anywhere.
Yeah, this was just a general that said they had no idea that this would happen, and it's just kind of like, I don't know about all that, man.
Well, the thing that I love, my favorite Vice News was kind of giving him crap for the feeling, but I liked it. The whole, we can give them the tools to fight, we can give them the training to fight, but we can't give them the will to fight. And that's what hurt. Like when I saw ISIS overrun Iraq, it was like, I spent 3 years training the Iraqi army, hand walking them like privates day one up to combat ready infantrymen, ready to defend their cities, posts, neighborhoods. And the second they saw any resistance, it was like, I don't want to fight. Nah, never mind. I'd rather live under ISIS. That's, self-preservation is a strong tool. You know what I mean? Like, that's why people cling to the sides of airplanes, because that's what seems like the best option at the time. But I just don't quite understand, like, the Taliban's going to cut your head off anyway because you worked for the Afghan army. Why not go down swinging? Man, I mean, I don't know. I'm not in that situation, and of course, it's always easier to be, of course I'd fight. But
that's what podcasts are all about, is playing Monday morning quarterback, though.
Oh, okay.
No. How do you feel about? I think U.S. gave the Taliban a list of names of people that they were trying to evacuate, because apparently the Taliban had a perimeter around the airport too. And apparently now the rumors are that the Taliban are using that same list to find the people that were working with Americans and retaliating against them. Do you think that constitutes treason? Or is that too strong of a word?
The T word.
I did.
His actions against your own government. Why would be ratting out a handful of civilians be? Oh, did I lose? No? All right.
What's that? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it was some kind of... I saw you guys all chuckling at my classic joke, but I didn't get to actually hear it. So, but, so what were we saying, huh? I lost my train of thought there. You asked me.
I was like wondering if that would constitute, if it would be treason to hand over a list of names of Americans and to that Taliban.
Here's where I don't know if names would be important. Why would the Taliban need to know their specific names? Because if you're an American, you were supposed to have had credentials, and that's the crappy part where you're talking about we promised them translators the world, and then I don't know, hit or miss whether it comes through. I saw quite a few of them, working on their immigration packets from They'd proudly show them to you, inch thick packets, all the documents and letters of recommendation and everything else. And I was watching some whatever news clip or whatever, and they were talking about this guy who got his papers after working with the Army for 10 years. He literally got his papers like 24 to 36 hours before the last flight to get out of country. But yeah, that they they even get a little better too, if you will, because they go by 70. The military industrial complex. Eventually, we don't even hire our own translators anymore. They have Raython and whatever it was, T3 Solutions or whatever. They were the ones that hired our contractors. So then Americans don't have to make, then the American government don't have to make promises to them.
Oh, okay. That's pretty dirty.
Yeah. Or, well, they'll still get the promise on the surface, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm not saying we're lying to those people, but the system we have in place to make sure that they're out of harm's way when their time is over is non-existent, broken. Yeah, I mean, some of these numbers are amazing as we're talking about botched withdrawal and this and that. 125,000 people in like the last few days, last week or something like that, were evacuated. I mean, that's wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, I just read 50,000 Afghans are expected to be admitted into the United States.
Yeah, some of the bases that they're holding them in. Here we go.
I think Christy Noem said she would take in 2.
Wow. I'm surprised to hear that.
Really opening the heart. No, I'm just kidding about that. I think she was trying to bitch, but then she's so two-faced. Like she says she's not. What I heard was that she was unsure about it, but then she'll like make statements saying that she supports Afghans and their fight for freedom, and it's like, well, then open the fucking door.
Yeah. Yep. Didn't she already sign an executive order saying she wouldn't resettle refugees here? Syrian?
I know she wouldn't take
I think so.
I know she wouldn't take Mexicans. So I read this. They keep throwing this number out since we were talking numbers. They keep saying that we spent $2 trillion in Afghanistan over the last 20 years that we were there. Do you believe that number? Do you think maybe it's a little bit of you think it's more than that? Like, I was just kind of thinking about it, and it's like, okay, well, in 2001, if you looked at our national debt, I bet we were sitting at 2, 3, 4 trillion. I guess I could Google search it quick. But anyway, and then you look at 20 years later when we leave Afghanistan, our national debt is like 21 trillion. And granted, the last couple of years with COVID, they've just been spending out of control. So that doesn't necessarily account. But I'm just saying, like, all that money wasn't spent on social programs in the United States. Like, where'd that money go? Do you think it was really 2 trillion, or do you think a lot more money was funneled?
Nope. I guarantee. Well, that number does. We start talking trillions. You're above my intellectual capacity for numbers. We're just talking. But to put it in a term, fraud, waste, and abuse. Because I was in Iraq. Not that Afghanistan wasn't suffering the same fate at the same time. You know what I mean? But yeah, right when the insurgency, I went to Baghdad without a bulletproof vest. All I had was a frag vest, and Humvee with canvas doors and wooden truck bed lining. So Now, Rumsfeld's comment to that was, you go to war with the army you have, not the one you want. You know what I mean? So, but I'd been in Iraq for 5 or 6 months before I finally got a bulletproof vest. I don't think we got armored Humvees for at least a year. But so when Congress is raising a stink that when the civilian population is raising a stink, hey, how dare you send our soldiers over there without proper equipment? And then Congress is saying, hey, how dare you send the soldiers over there without proper equipment? I watch these blank checks get written. I mean, just, dude, it's like a shopping spree. I'm not even joking, dude. The commanders of each unit would just open up supply catalogs and order everybody multi-tool Gerbers and Camelback backpacks and whatever, you name it. I got stuff in my house still, because when I didn't go to Afghanistan the last time my unit went, I was a rear D first sergeant. I was in charge of everybody that stayed back and all that other good stuff. So I had to clean out the buildings to turn them back over to the base housing authority, right? So I had to clean out our supply rooms. Now, a blank check had been written, for this unit for a few years by then. And as my commander is saying, he opens up this supply room that literally you can barely open the door, and it is to the ceiling. And I had three of those rooms like that to clean out. And his exact words were, I don't care what you do with it, get rid of it. I'm not inventorying it. So rather than inventorying it and sealing it up into a container, I would have been responsible for, he just tells me to get rid of it. I mean, let's see, there's got to be something within, I don't know.
It's probably pretty similar to what happened in Afghanistan when they left. They're just like,
oh yeah,
just leave
all
it.
them MRAPs and stuff. See, them MRAPs and the mine-resistant vehicles and stuff. That was part of that blank check. They did, the Army was like, or the military, DOD was like, get us something that can survive these IEDs quick. Well, they were in such a hurry, kind of like the COVID, you know what I mean? Let's get everybody working on it. Let's see which one works best. They had the Max Pro, the Caymans, the I forget all the names of them, but whatever have you. They ended up with 3 or 4 different manufacturers they gave contracts to, and well, they're barely built to military specs, so they're not like easily transportable on cargo planes. And so, yeah, believe it or not, these $1 million vehicles that they shot through their butts to get into the theater were best left there. They don't really have a purpose in the United States. They can give them to the local Aberdeen Police Department.
Yeah.
They can spend $50,000 worth of civil asset forfeiture money to put a machine gun turret on their Max Pro.
Yeah.
Woo! Looks good in parades, though. I tell you what, it looks good in parades. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how much.
What kind of supplies were in the room? Like you said, it was a room full of supplies. What kind of supplies are in there?
Oh, you name, let's see. I'm trying to think of all the stuff I hauled out of, or that I kept. Like I kept a dry erase easel, like a art easel. Actually, I kept 3 or 4 different dry erase boards. I have a huge like a 55-inch dry erase board in my kitchen. Plus, I have a smaller one that's like a 4-month planner dry erase board. And then I got one of them like easel flip, you can put paper on it, or it's got a dry erase board. I got one of those. A couple of fire extinguishers. I got a kerosene lamp. I got a 2-ton jack. I got
any RPGs?
Some of this stuff. Huh?
Any RPGs?
No live ammunition. Yeah. The only story I have like that, if you will, is I one time found a red smoke signal grenade somebody had put it in the amnesty box, and the amnesty box wasn't locked. So I was just walking around. I opened it up, and oh, be damned if this ain't a live smoker grenade in here. Shit, yeah. So I took it home and set it off in my backyard. And the little German town I lived in, the neighbors didn't like that none too much, and they called the fire department. Because the whole neighborhood was covered in red smoke for about 10 minutes. Thank goodness, the smoke had gone away by the time the fire department showed up.
You
I'm not sure I wanted to explain that one. No, I was hiding, I'm sure. But let's see, what were we talking about? Weapons, explosives, no.
Well, shoot, I didn't have a whole lot more about Afghanistan myself. You got any final thoughts? We were going to dive into other big news in South Dakota this week, over the last week, was the Ravnsborg situation. But anyway, you got any final thoughts on Afghanistan? Glad it's over? What?
I may have never went, but I still lost friends over there too. And I don't know if it was real or not, probably just some sappy Facebook comment, but this exists. This is a real scenario. Like some of these kids are growing up without parents. And that spouse that's trying to comfort that child growing up without knowing their parent, they had a sense of pride, a sense of purpose. Well, your parent sacrificed their life for X. Well, now X has just been dragged out from under them. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? I won't be forced staying 40 years to make sure they were propped up. If 20 couldn't do it, 40 ain't gonna do it.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it's not just a news story for some people, and I'm not saying that everybody that went or everybody that was in the service is, going to be suffering from a deep, dark depression, or is there, so emotionally invested in it. But it's more than a news story, like more than a news story to some people. Some people, that's their lives. For 40 months, I was in Iraq trying to make it a better place. I always believed in the mission. I always believed that we were there to do good. We were there to provide them with an opportunity for a better life. And that's the way I conducted myself every day. So that being said, to all my battle buddies out there hurting right now, feeling like you sacrificed for naught, I feel your pain and I know what you're going through. And it's not easy. It's really not easy, but I don't know. Don't dwell on it. Nothing you can do about it now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We lost a couple thousand troops in
I think
Afghanistan.
they said 2,500. Another 20 plus thousand injured. And man, injured runs the gamut. I don't know what the exact numbers are for Iraq, but I fall into that injured category from Iraq. I got my Purple Heart for combat injuries. At the end of the day, they didn't really end up being that bad, but but that's my blood. That was my sweat. That was my. The year stopped. That was the thing that not bothered me, but the whole world kept going, and I was there. I didn't know the new music. You know what I mean? The world just continued on. I come back and I tried to play catch up, or I don't know. At 40 months, I was happy to give it at the time, but for that 40 months to just end up being feels like it was for nothing. It's like, dang, could have done something else with my time. I don't think Afghanistan could have, Biden should wear it. He should own it. It'll be his presidency's legacy or whatever have you. But
I'm actually surprised that he actually followed through, because I know I was kind of mad back in April or May when they were like, "Oh, we're extending it until September," and I was like, "No way!" I'm like, "Great, now it's just gonna keep getting extended." And
right.
I was actually kind of surprised that he actually followed through with it, especially because, I mean, it wasn't like he wasn't vice president for 8 years of that war, too,
Mm-hmm.
And he actually was talking even about back then. I think there was some clips where he was talking about ending the war, in Afghanistan, and it's like, yeah, I'm always forever the pessimist, I guess, but I keep getting proved wrong lately.
What do you guys think about Biden claiming he might declassify 9/11 files? That just came out a couple days ago.
I love the idea. The only, not the weird thing, but the angle that the clip I heard about it was trying to spin was that victims of the 9/11 have been asking for this for decades now, in hopes of finding a connection to the Saudi government so they can sue them. I mean, dude, if you're waiting for documents to be unclassified for 20 years so that you can hopefully sue the Saudis, I didn't lose anybody personally on 9/11, but, I mean, is that going to bring you healing if you sue the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia? I don't know. That's a nice pivot into your next topic, because, oh boy, I hope Ravnsborg goes down civilly, dude. I want his underwear.
His underwear?
Yeah, I want his fucking underwear. Clean out that dresser drawer. I'm repoing it.
Yeah, I can't believe he got a speeding ticket 2 days before his court appearance for careless driving, which caused the death of somebody.
And he was going 20 miles an hour over, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And then blamed it on
to prove reckless driving, though.
He blamed it on a hill. It's like, oh, come on, dude.
Oh, it's going downhill.
Why didn't he have a cruise set?
I'll give it to him that he didn't start the conversation off with, I'm the Attorney General of South Dakota. Like he did initially.
I can't remember who it was. Some government official. Maybe it was that secretary, that highway patrol guy, that Craig Pierce or Price or whatever his name is. Anyway, some government official came out this week and said that he should have been charged with reckless driving, and that he got off too easy. It's like, well, thanks for sticking your neck out and saying something about it when the damn court case is over. Like, it's done. Yeah. He pled no contest. Like, you saying that he should have been charged with reckless driving does jack shit right now.
What does that mean? It goes from a class 1 misdemeanor to a class 5, or what? Like, I
think if you could have proved, I think the way it would have worked is, and honestly, he was guilty of reckless driving. I have no doubt about that. We did a couple podcasts, some of our first ones, where we watched the interrogation video with Ravnsborg, and dude, he was on his phone. Now, their whole excuse is that one of the videos they tried saying he was on his phone 50 seconds before the accident. And it's like, well, so you're trying to say the exact accident or exact second that accident happened? And 50 seconds is not a whole lot of time when you're traveling 65 miles an hour down the the highway, but he was guilty of reckless driving. And anyway, had he been charged with reckless driving, he could have been charged with manslaughter. But they held this big old press conference with like state's attorneys. They held this huge press conference to say why, to explain why they couldn't charge him with reckless driving or manslaughter. And then it's like after all the details came out, it's like he totally was guilty of reckless driving. Totally was guilty. It's like,
Yeah.
What is, I mean, I know we can look this up, but it's one of my favorite things to do, even actually, because I'm not saying the law is easy, but if if you can find the right one or know where to look, like this stuff is spelled out. You must prove A, B, and or C, or whatever. So like, yeah, what's the freaking criteria for reckless driving? Leaving the road and 20 miles an hour over? Pretty sure I'm getting that reckless driving.
Yeah, they said that they couldn't prove that he knew that he was putting people's lives in danger is the reason why they couldn't. But there's the one thing I found out later, just recently, is that apparently if you kill somebody while you're speeding, that's automatically reckless driving. And Ravnsborg was going 2 miles an hour above the speed limit because they brought that up in the press conference, and they asked, I think Joe Sneeve asked the Hyde County State's Attorney why he's getting a speeding ticket, and then she kind of laughed it off, like, "Well, I don't know anybody who doesn't go 2 miles an hour the speed limit."
But
it's
then
like,
again,
well, you don't know a lot of people who've killed somebody.
Again, I'm not an automobile expert, and I know they have a lot of computers, and maybe somebody out there listening knows more than I do. But so maybe it is possible with these new computers in your cars that it'll give you the exact moment that you were in a car accident. Maybe
it'll black box kind of thing.
Yeah, or maybe like like what Devin was like, oh, he was going 2 miles an hour. Like the skeptic in me is like, well, how'd you figure out he was going 2 miles an hour over? Like, is there a black box that literally says how fast he was going at the time of the impact? Because otherwise, you're just making it up, and you made up that 2 miles an hour. You know what I mean?
It's made up, but it's not made up because
I know there's forensics,
accident reconstruction people. They use
skid marks.
Yeah, they measure the distance of the tire marks and the weight of the car, and
I bet your ass it's not so specific down to 2 miles an hour though.
No way. It shouldn't be able to. So I heard he was doing like, what was it, 75 to 55 or something, right?
For the Highmore accident or for the latest speeding ticket?
Okay.
The latest speeding ticket, I think, was like 57 and a 35. Yeah.
Wow, 35. That's not, well, I guess I would just say that's residential. But no. It could be. That's pretty fast, though, huh? South Dakota South Dakota Attorney General's got lead foot, huh?
Well, here was another weird thing too. So his two charges that he pled guilty to, one was being distracted while driving. So let me ask, how the hell you get charged with distracted driving, plead guilty to distracted driving, but yet you're telling me that he wasn't guilty of reckless driving? That makes no sense whatsoever. But then
I looked it up. Oh, go ahead.
The second point was the second thing he got charged with was making an illegal lane change. Well, where did you pull that out of your ass? First of all, there was no witnesses of the accident. So what do you mean he made an illegal lane change? What is that even?
That's in the Highmore accident. That's the other ticket.
Yeah, those were the two charges. One was distracted driving, and the other one was making an illegal lane change. And real quick, the other thing that kind of got my blood boiling about that was the judge said that his hands were tied and that he couldn't. His hands were tied as to why Ravnsborg didn't get any jail time, but that doesn't even make any sense. Both of those misdemeanors carried a maximum of 30 days in jail. I've always been told that judges have discretion on sentencing.
Well, yeah, but that's probably part of the plea agreement. That's why I said hands were tied.
Yeah, but regardless, judges don't have to honor a freaking plea agreement either.
They sure don't, and he would have took it to trial.
He could have been like, well, no, you're just, I'm accepting your plea, but you're going to do a month in jail. Like, they could have totally.
I'm not accepting the plea.
The dude didn't even plead guilty either. He pled no contest, which is literally like saying, I'm not at fault for this, but I'll accept your fines for it.
Yeah, they were even they wouldn't even give him community service. The judge was like, I'm gonna have to think about that. And then like a couple days later, well, after reflection, I'm not able to give him community service either. And like the community service the family requested was that he would teach like kids about distracted driving. And it would be like on the anniversary of when he killed Joe Beaver. But the judge said nah, so he's not gonna have to do that either. He's just gonna have to pay some fines.
He got off criminally, but his social civilian world is over. Did you guys see his letter of resignation from his commanding officer in the reserve?
He resigned or what?
His commanding officer requested his resignation.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Confidence in his leadership abilities.
Well,
did he resign from the reserves or whatever he's with?
Well, he's going. His commanding officer told him to. I mean, whatever. I guess his governor told him to resign here too. So
yeah.
That's the weird thing. I mean, I know we got plenty of details to discuss in this case, but like, what's he holding on to the job for?
Yeah,
like,
I don't get it.
Like, you're not going to progress. You're not going to get reelected. It probably pays pretty good, but I'm pretty sure you could probably get a job because you had one before you were attorney general.
Yeah, wouldn't you just leave the state? Like, everybody knows who you are and everybody hates you. Like, why would you even? You got off scot-free.
Yeah, that would be so weird to walk around. You know what I mean?
Like,
walk around here and, hi, Christy, how's your coffee?
He's that one asshole that like nobody likes, but he just can't take a hint, and so he's still just hanging out. Like, hey guys, and it's like, oh great, it's Ravnsborg.
Yeah. You see that Saturday Night Live skit where like Trump goes to like some international summit and they're doing the same thing? You know?
Yeah, I think so.
But oh look, here comes anyway.
Look, here comes Ravnsborg.
Yeah, I can see it.
Get up! They're all eating in the cafeteria in the pier Capitol, and it's like, hurry up! Finish the trays. Ravnsborg's coming. So they could all get up and leave before he. No, but I mean, seriously though, like touching on it, it's like, I don't get it. It's like, dude, you have accepted no personal responsibility whatsoever for your actions. You still act like you have no idea what happened. Resign, dude. Resign.
Yeah.
Yeah, even especially after trying to claim that Joe Beaver tried to commit suicide.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, that's so low. And he refused to pay the funeral costs.
Wow.
So it's like, dude, and the judge refused to give him restitution for funeral costs. It's like, man. Chris Germain says, knowing South Dakota is going to be governor in 2030. Yeah, that's a sad state. That's a sad state of this state. More corrupt you are, the higher up you get. Like, here we go. We got Marty Jackley coming back, trying to make a move to come back. And he's one of the most corrupt attorney generals we've ever had.
Yeah, right.
Do you think that
already forget about
you think Ravnsborg impeached and Kristi Noem might appoint somebody like a Jackley?
She'd appoint Jackley, I guess. I mean, I don't follow state politics that well, but
I hope not.
He's
What do you guys think? what do you think the chances of him being impeached are? Currently, the House has like all the evidence from the case. They're looking it over. They're supposedly gonna like Christy Nolan wants him impeached
Christy
really
sent
bad,
him
and
to
she
us.
gets what she
She
wants.
sent it to him. She sent it to him.
Well,
Yeah.
the legislature either impeaches them, or they were just full of shit from the beginning, because they actually had started doing it last year when it first happened, and then and then they were like, "Well, we need to see where this court case goes," and it's like, "Well, the court case is done," but then they'll act like chickens, because what they'll do is they'll move the goalposts and they'll say, "Well, but he wasn't convicted of anything to do with killing that guy." And it's like, so that guy just magically fucking died, just magically died, and no one's responsible, is what you're trying to say.
Well, if your commanding officer in the military asks for your resignation, I don't know why the legislature wouldn't, but what was I say that the whole? So, of course, our our part-time legislature that can move mountains in 90 days, but whines about having to do actually any work. Well, I don't know what we're supposed to do with this 1,000-page document, and not what we're supposed to do, but so anyway, I'm getting long-winded to say that whoever it was, whoever Christy Nolan gave it to, was it Senate Majority Leader? Is that who she was giving stuff to? Or is it like going to be the House? Does it work like national, federal impeachment? Does it have to originate in
I'm not sure. Someday I hope to find out, but I'm not sure. Someday I'll be on the receiving end of the impeachment. But
they basically said already, without saying it, if you read between the lines, they wouldn't make a decision until next legislative session anyway.
Yeah,
they weren't going to call a special session before January to impeach him. So if they do, it would be during the session or right after.
Yeah.
I heard that on the radio.
Did you say January? Is that when you said it was in January the special session is, or?
No, that's normal session.
Yeah.
January.
Oh, normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am grateful that we only have a part. I mean, in this situation, it kind of sucks, but I am pretty grateful that we only have a part-time legislature, because I wouldn't want a meeting like that, because all they do is come up with ways to like screw the little guy or come up with new rules, or very seldom are they ever doing anything that you really approve or care about. And I couldn't handle it if they met like 6-8 months out of the year.
Yeah, it does stink when you're a political junkie, though, trying to catch up or stay caught up in that 3 months.
There's too much crap. Like every other day, it's like, and you hear about all these terrible bills, and you're like, and some of them will get you kind of worked up, but then you're like, okay, but that's not even going to make it out of a committee, because these guys come up with like 400 freaking bills in a 3-month period.
What do you need, bud? Sorry, my dog's hollering at me. But yeah, what was I going to say to that? I'm pretty sure it was Larry Sharp who said this, doesn't matter. But, it's probably not his original, but
looks like you got a growth behind you.
Yep. Yep. He wants outside or a walk or both. But you should. This is how a person, I'm paraphrasing, but not. This is how you should look at every law. At the end of every law, every written, Is a man with a gun willing to use it or put you in a cage to enforce it? All right.
You get trot.
Sorry, I got the cat. Got the cat laying next to me too.
There you're getting a little bit. You're like, it's like
Sounds
at my
like they're
house.
best buds.
like
Oh,
at my
Marty
house.
watched you.
Our dog
God,
will
grumpy
feed
cat
off of
always.
your energy and excitement. So if you start getting a little too loud, a little too excited, oh yeah.
Let's see.
Well, I suppose we don't have to keep you too much longer. There was one more topic for sure though we wanted to touch on. Next Saturday is Freedom Feast, the third annual barbecue for the Libertarian Party of South Dakota. I think you mentioned you're going to make some of your favorite beans.
I am. I definitely am making beans. I'm going to pass on the ready cooked ribs because the 6 racks of those I brought last year, nobody touched. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. There was a lot better quality cuts of meat than that. But
Shout out to Sean McDaniel, a viewer of the show. He's donating 3 racks of ribs for Saturday.
nice.
I'm going to go to the store and buy a bunch of meat. I'll post some pictures online after I get home. And here's some pictures of the last couple. Last year was pretty good turnout. I think we had about 30 people there. I'm kind of thinking this year is going to be a little bit bigger. I know there's like 25 people I was counting yesterday. Just the first sure people I know coming, about 25, but we're probably going to be, we could possibly hit 35, 40 people. You never know.
I'm bringing my dogs.
Well, that's 2 more people.
That photo bomber you just had there, he'll be here.
Yeah, the Palisades Park.
Dogs.
Palisades Park. It's nice. A bunch of us are camping that night too, so we'll be keeping it going.
Got me a cabin.
Hell yeah!
Got me a cabin. The parents got the cabin. Oh, that ought to be fun. Our parents are coming.
I could use the extra hand. Richard can help me cook.
Yep. Shoot.
Yeah, we'll be having another auction. We'll have like a plaque. Man, we should probably order a plaque thing for that paper. We got a sheet signed by a bunch of celebritarians at Freedom Fest in Rapid City. I think the biggest name we got was JP Sears. We got all the other classic names. We got the new chairs signature. We got old chair signatures.
Bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, big old area. Lots of room. You can hunt or not hunt. You can, yeah,
You can fish.
You can go hunting. You can go fishing. You can go swimming. There's some hiking trails. A little playground area for kids. We'll be there all day. We'll start cooking in the morning. Probably serve food 4 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. Got to give the ribs a good 6 hours, 5-6 hours to cook.
Yeah, so what's all on the menu then? We got beans and ribs,
I don't want to
bacon pulled pork.
Pulled pork, yep.
Well, see, Heather mentioned maybe I could do pulled pork, but you did that last year.
Yeah, so we don't, so pulled pork, doing it right takes like good 10 hours of cook time. We don't have 12. Are you guys staying Friday night or are you guys just Saturday?
Just Saturday.
Yeah, that's the only.
Well, yeah, if I was going to do pulled pork,
I kind of cheat and I split it up a little bit.
Yep, crock pot, half smoker, half crock pot.
Snow crab crock pot?
what? No, I said half smoker, half crock pot.
Oh, I'm like snow crab, crock pot. I'm like, damn, dude. So yeah, we'll do.
Guys, the menu right here now, but
Daryl Roots talking about bringing jalapeno garlic or jalapeno cornbread. He said.
Ooh.
And then I don't know. Our mom, she might make a side. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, we'll have pulled pork. We'll have ribs. We'll have beans.
oh hey, I'll bring you your mason jar too. Your what'd you call it? Your
I know I
infused
should.
vodka.
Yeah, I thought about doing that again, and then I don't have enough time by the time I wanted to do it.
Skip the blackberries.
Yeah,
Too seedy when you finally went to go.
eat it. Yeah.
And then I ended up blending it up too. Just
Oh, you
mix
got
it
one
together.
full, huh?
You sent me home with it.
Oh,
Sent me home with a jug last year of your.
adult beverages.
Yep. I will bring it and return it.
Full, of course, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's clean. So it didn't quite turn out perfect, but I had the missus. I told her to make sure and get me a.
Mango.
It's a seltzer though, right? That's not what you drink, is it? I was trying to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, he always sees you drinking Mike's.
Yeah, that's what I drink. It's delicious, isn't it? It's better than White Claw. I'll say that.
Yeah, you and Adam Jewell have to crack a White Claw at the Freedom Feast. Yeah, it should be great turnout. A lot of good food. Like I said, we'll be there all day cooking. I like that corn. We did corn last year too. Might do some.
Oh yeah.
Might do corn again. Like you.
I love corn.
You brought corn, didn't you?
I brought corn.
Yeah.
I was gonna say though, I could do that cooler corn. It'll just cook on the way down.
Yeah. Sounds like a good idea. I know I'm excited. Oh, can't hear you, dude.
Me?
Technical difficulties. Jared lives in a third world country up there in Aberdeen. But yeah. September 11th, all day, Palisades State Park. It is free. You can come and eat, hang out all day for free. It is a state park though, so there is a entrance fee to enter the park. So carpool, bring a buddy.
Yeah. And I have one campsite available for whoever wants it. It's free. It's right next to everybody else's campsites. Just got an extra one just in case somebody wanted one at the last minute, because that usually always happens. So if you want that campsite, just message the Hedgehog Watchdog page and let you know which campsite it is.
Heck yeah.
September 11th. Isn't that Patriots Day? Isn't that what they call it?
Is that what? I don't know.
Is that the new term?
It's kind of crazy that wasn't exactly picked. I mean, it obviously wasn't picked. It wasn't like we wanted to necessarily have a barbecue on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, but that is how it worked out. So we'll be talking about steel beams and jet fuel and Saudi agents of the Saudi government,
And we will be on the lookout for reckless drivers.
reckless drivers. Oh, yeah. Here comes
I
Ravnsborg.
looked up the
Yeah.
the codified law, and like it's
On what?
generic as can be.
Yeah.
I don't know how you couldn't prove that. I mean, unless there's another subtext or precedent case law that I'm not following.
Yeah, if it was
Reckless driving.
any one of us and we just ran a dude over and they could prove that we were on our phone up to a minute before the crash, we would totally be in jail for manslaughter. Like it's not even a question.
The chances of us having to pay a huge cash bond to get out pre-trial would be
Yeah. Oh, you mean the
yeah,
local sheriff wouldn't borrow you a car to drive home?
pretty sure. Pretty sure any person who drives a vehicle. All right, we're going, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Well, I hope I gave you a little bit of perspective.
Yeah. That was awesome. Your insight was definitely what we were looking for.
It happened faster than everybody thought it would, but anybody who didn't see it coming, no, I don't know what you were expecting.
Yeah.
I did not expect to, start seeing the Afghan president at the UN and trips to the White House. And
I didn't expect to see Taliban on Twitter.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's all up on Twitter bragging about all the tax money equipment they got. I can't even. Do you want me? Should I pull up their Twitter account or?
Oh man, I mean, I tell you, dude, like I get it that they had some, get our equipment and whatever have you, but I was watching them, like some of the laser sights and freaking like they can't even use some of that shit that's on them weapons. Like it's called like Pack 2s, Pack 4s, and stuff like that. I don't remember exactly what that stands for, but that little square box that's on the front of the weapon, that's infrared lasers. So like you can laser designate a target. They don't have infrared or NVG. They might have a few NVGs, but not very many. That's not one thing we left over there. Night vision goggles, but like it's an expensive piece of equipment if you know how to use it, but if you don't, it's just extra weight on your rifle. Like it looks cool. It's a nice decoration for them, but
Yeah.
they're not going to know how to change the batteries in them ACOGs.
Somebody was saying that they might have actually disabled quite a bit of the equipment on the way out too.
I heard
So that
some of
even
that too.
so that even though it might have, some of this equipment was still sitting there, it's like it's pretty, like you were just saying, it's kind of useless to them.
Well, I watched one of the things, and I don't want to keep this going because we're trying to watch it. One of the things I was watching, I think it was actually like Australians, and they had left for a while and they were coming back like 6 months later. And so these guys, these Afghan, whatever, patrolman army people, still 100% completely supported financially by the Americans. They were driving around in these trucks that had the most busted out windshields ever, and they weren't replacing them, right? Because they were just siphoning off money that would go to, or there was no money in the budget. And anyway, so like they were putting out straight accounting numbers on this show I was watching. They're like, all right, this base has 15 vehicles on the books. Out of the 15 vehicles, only 10 of them are actually runnable. Out of the 10 that are runnable, only 2 of them are actually, what they would consider roadworthy. But what they were doing is they were still drawing the fuel supply for 14 vehicles, even though they only had 10 running. So they're taking home 4 vehicles worth. You know what I mean? Everybody's got a sponge off the American government tit. Yeah. So they were going back to check on these guys like 6 months after the Americans had, left them, and we don't have any money, we're out of ammunition, and that was some of the jokes are hey, like the Google suggestion. Google, how do you operate an MRAP? Google, how do you maintain an MRAP? These guys don't have the maintenance facilities, capabilities. Like this equipment will all rot in 6 months.
How
Hopefully they
long?
don't deserve it.
I was actually thinking about this the other day. How long does like a Hummer stay in operation or something, or an MRAP or something like that?
Well, I know what you're saying. Like, what's the expected service life of?
Yeah, like what's the life expectancy? Because you know how government is. It's just like with the local law enforcement or something like that, right? It'll be what we would consider a perfectly fine vehicle, but yet every 2 years or every 3 or 4 years, the whole town's got new police cars.
Well, that is definitely not the case when it comes to Humvees. I'm not sure exactly what the. Well, let's put it this way. I'm not sure what they expect a vehicle to last exactly, but 20 years doesn't sound bad or out of reason at all. But whatsoever, those vehicles are maintained every Monday. Every Monday, I spent half of the day in the motor pool, in the vehicle, whatever, greasing this, oil changing that. Yep.
All right, well, we better let you get out there and take your dog out.
Yeah.
Like top priority.
So. He thinks so. He thinks so. Yeah, the biggest concern with as far as them having the weapons is the small arms. I mean, once they shoot the missiles, they can't get more missiles. Once they wreck a Humvee, they can't get any parts for a Humvee. Once they crash a helicopter, which they don't even know how to fly, I'm not saying that, every single person in the Taliban is a illiterate cave dweller or whatever have you, but, the maintenance, the discipline, the maintenance, the upkeep, they have no clue. They have no clue. They'll destroy that stuff.
Is the desert rust things or no?
Well, no, but sand inside things isn't a good thing.
No.
No, you don't get rust without water or humidity.
No salt on the streets in Baghdad.
Not so much.
Yo, well,
yeah, I didn't really have anything else. Freedom Feast, if you're in the area, come out. It's like probably, aside from our state convention, it's our biggest event of the year. It's going to be awesome.
There we go. I'm back in the
I just totally did the Midwestern whelp thing. I didn't even.
Well,
I just saw that meme the other day. Were you like trying to like end the conversation?
If
Just
I
go,
had
well,
suspenders right now, I'd be like, yeah. Oh man, remember when we used to do like 2.5 hour podcasts? I actually don't really miss that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, dude. It feels like we've never done 2 or 3 hour podcasts now.
I know.
That used to be like every podcast. But hell yeah, like our page on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, Hedgehog Watchdog. Come to Freedom Feast on Saturday. Show up anytime. Food's gonna be served at 4. One extra campsite available. So message us on Hedgehog Watchdog if you want that campsite. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have campfire songs. We're gonna eat a lot of food. Talk Liberty. It's gonna be 9/11, so we'll obviously be reflecting on 9/11. We're gonna have an auction. We have some one cool item I know of that we'll be auctioning off.
I got one thing I got to auction off. Larry Sharp, when he was out at Freedom Fest, has a little book that he came out.
Oh yeah,
and so I got an autographed copy of his book, so we'll auction that off.
Yeah, that'll be cool. And episode is brought to you by Pinkcoin. Check them out at pinkcoin.com. And I think we have anything special coming up next Sunday. Do we have Ned Horsted coming on still, or do we miss that opportunity?
No, and honestly, I was kind of thinking we might not have an episode just because we're both camping Saturday night.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, we'll skip next Sunday, but the next Sunday we'll have.
I was thinking maybe it might be.
I got some pictures from the tornado too, but I'll save those for another episode. Yeah, that's why we missed last week's. Like I hit by a tornado, power got knocked out for like 2 days, so I couldn't really operate. Fucking
maybe we'll interview.
Command center got knocked down. Yeah, I have a CJ said he'd give us an interview on Afghanistan. He was actually in Afghanistan for quite a bit, so he has got a very descriptive testimony on exactly why the Afghan army caved, and I'll let him share that with everybody. I think we'll pre-record the interview at Freedom Feast and then just air it the following Sunday or the second Sunday, whatever Sunday we come back. So hell yeah. Come to Freedom Feast. Peace.
All right. See you guys later.